I don't know how I'm gonna know.
We're live, supposedly.
Are we?
And I think it's going to Twitch. Hold on. Let me check. Let me check.
All right.
So far,
it does.
no.
It does say live. I see Blue Sedition live stream.
Oh yeah.
I see us.
You do. Did we do it? We did it.
We did it, kids. Cool. We did it.
Hey, everyone! Welcome to our first ever live show. And things. It's already. We're off to a great start. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do this live.
Great start. We know exactly what we're doing, and we're not confused.
We're not confused in the least. We are professionals.
In this field, in tech. I mean,
in tech.
If we can't do it, no one can.
No, literally no one. So, and it looks like my video is lagging. Is my video lagging for you? Like, is this?
I think it's just a little bit behind by default.
No, I mean for you on our meeting software, because it's lagging for me everywhere.
No.
No? Really?
No.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, okay. So it's just doing it for me. That's great.
It's just you, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Hey, that's great. What do we want to talk about today? We got some stuff to talk about. You know what? Let me put on my headphones, guys. We're doing this live. Just deal with it, okay? We're just deal with us. Look at us. Hey,
look at us now.
Look at us.
Oh, good. I did that for some reason. It was required, apparently. Okay. Well, anyway, welcome to the last week of May, everybody. How are we all doing?
Is it? Oh yeah, there's a couple days.
The last week. That's all we got.
Yeah. How was your Memorial Day?
It was pretty good. Yeah. I don't want to get into it more than that because somebody will yell at me.
Yeah, I will. I'll yell at you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get my headphones on so that there's no echo.
Yeah. I don't know how to use YouTube. Why the worst?
Two old guys in tech.
We'll find it. I found it. Okay, good. I'm logged in now as our user, and I can handle chat and all that.
Listen, we want to do these.
We want to do lives more. We want to be live. We want to get some questions going. We want to talk with the people.
I think the plan, right, is to do a podcast our weekly podcast and then a weekly live show. You know, that's the goal eventually.
It's the goal.
It is the goal. Somebody took over our Blue Sedition chat room and said, "Welcome, chatters." Have we been hacked?
By me.
Oh, okay, that's you. Okay, good.
I hacked you.
All right. I am. I think my NVIDIA card is just not handling this well.
You're coming through pretty well, and
okay.
This stream's coming through fine. So let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do
well,
that.
let's just head right. Let's just start talking about the first story, and we'll also probably.
You don't want to do the intro?
Wait, did we not do the intro already?
We didn't do like the ladies and gentlemen that you always do.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll start with the intro then. Let me bring up the stories. Listen, the people who are on the live show, if you're already here, you get to see a little bit of how we operate before we say
behind the scenes.
I'm looking at the stories we're gonna go over. That didn't seem right. Okay, I was on the wrong date. See, this is totally normal.
We're doing it. There you are. I see you now.
Hey, you see me? I'm there. Yeah, I see that. I see this. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's probably true. Everything I'm seeing is probably true here. Okay, let's go. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Blue Sedition podcast, the very first Blue Sedition podcast live show. I got maybe not the first one. We did do one on Twitch. Was it election?
Yeah, for the election.
Yeah,
it was the election.
So that was election coverage. That was a whole other special video edition. That one, I would say that one doesn't really count. But this one,
it got progressively worse as the night went on.
Ah, you said progressive. It did get worse as the reality started setting in. The reality of which we already knew in our hearts, probably before the night even began, that there was no chance that Kamala Harris was going to be the next president of the United States, of these very United States.
but maybe she'll be the next president next time. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll run her again, the run back.
There is, I would say, absolutely no chance that Kamala Harris wins a Democratic primary.
Okay.
Yeah.
A primary? Really?
Well, like, she may win a state in the primary. She won't win the primary.
Right, but she won't win the whole thing out.
Oh, absolutely not. I would put if there was a side that like, if there was a place I could bet against her winning the nomination, I would mortgage my house again.
I would leverage everything I could.
Leverage everything I have.
Okay. This isn't part of the show, but I am curious who at this day, you know, it's the end of May, beginning of June now. Who do we think? Who's the pick?
Well, there is something I wanted to talk
knowing
about
now how terrible Cory Booker is.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I wanted to talk about how terrible Cory Booker is. Did you see the new book coming out? Oh, you didn't, because I posted about it. I posted about it on our Blue Sky, which apparently you don't follow.
I do, but it's hard to follow.
Cory Booker has a new book coming out. For the love of God, guess the name. It's one word. I bet you could guess it. It's one word.
Booker.
No, it's Stand. Stand. His new book is called Stand, and it's going to extrapolate on his, you know, record-setting congressional, you know, interference there with the fake filibuster that he did. You know, so
I didn't realize he was 56 years old. He's a lot older than I thought he was.
This is what a man does who definitely wants to be president. I mean, it's all posturing. It's.
I don't know. Did either Obama or Hillary or even Biden write a book in their? Did they really?
Oh yeah, they all have books.
Well, they have books, but they weren't like.
No, I think they all
have write a book
beforehand.
And then.
Let's see.
Really?
Hillary Clinton book. Pre-election. So let's see. That was What Happened. Yeah, Hard Choices, I think, was Hillary's, a memoir. And then Obama book pre-2008.
You're right. Hillary Clinton's was 2014 when it was published.
Yeah. They all do it. They all do it. Obama's was Obama's A Promised Land? Was that pre-2008? Or was that
Promised Land published in 2020? So
okay, no, that was after. Anyway, it's something they all try to do.
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe that's the problem. Did Bernie publish a book?
He had a book, but that one might have come out after. Well, it still came out before 2020, but he's had a couple of books that he's written.
Yeah.
So you'd have to look up the publishing rates on those, because I'm not sure what they are. But they all do it. So Cory Booker here is, and I'm sure Kamala will have her own book coming out. But the person who I think, you asked the question, who do I think, if I had to pick today, who I thought would win the nomination, it would be Pete Buttigieg. If I had to guess who would win the nomination as it stands right now. I'm not saying that's who I want. I'm saying that's who I think it would be.
Yeah, that seems like the standard Dem playbook. Right,
because he almost won, he almost won Iowa. He was like dabbling in 2020. When Biden and Sanders were duking it out. And he was he was really picking up momentum. And I know among the center left liberals that I know, like those hardcore liberals, they are very happy with him versus somebody like Gavin Newsom, obviously, because he's going out there, he's going on all these podcasts, he's fighting back, he speaks eloquently, he speaks knowledgeably, and he has a way of going into the lion's den and kind of flipping the script on them to get them to see, like, maybe I am wrong on this. So all that said, I think he's a great speaker. He reminds me a lot of Obama, where you can get him on any topic, and he's really well spoken.
Yeah.
But there's other problems with Buttigieg that I think would cause issues in a national election. I mean,
how much of what we're seeing right now with the air traffic controller nonsense are they going to put on him if he runs? They're going to be like, you were Secretary of Transportation. This is all your fault.
Yeah, like none of it got fixed. I mean, they're certainly going to take that.
Yeah,
because this is
it's Vance. Vance is going to say that verbatim.
Right.
Mark my words.
And this is what Trump does, right? With the stock market goes up, it's Trump's stock market, it's Trump's economy.
Right.
And if the stock market is crashing, if inflation is still bad, Biden's inflation. He'll be 3 years into this thing and he'll talk about Biden's inflation and Biden's immigration and all of that stuff. So
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, let's get through the midterms first, but to me, Cory Booker is obviously posturing. So we'll see. So let's just jump right into our, I guess now second story. We can call Cory Booker writing a book about standing the first story, but the second story, a judge says Marco Rubio has likely violated the Constitution in ordering the Mahmoud Khalil deportation, but he does fall short of actually ordering the immediate release of Mahmoud Khalil. Do we have a link on this? Let's see if we got a link.
I just noticed that I somehow dropped the link. So there you go.
This is the live show, guys. This is how we do it on the first live show. Okay, you're just gonna have to deal with this. So judge says Rubio likely violated Constitution in ordering Mahmoud Khalil. Yeah, I mean, likely, he obviously did. A mixed ruling. And we have to remember, I think this was another one of those judges that was like, what, George W. Bush appointed judge. So he did.
I think that's right.
Right? Or maybe it's the tariff judges, the three judges in the tariff case, which we're going to talk about shortly. But nonetheless, he suggested that even if Khalil is able to prove that the government may, for now, be justified in detaining him on a separate charge, this means that they're not going to release him just yet, because the government still has a chance. Of course, when the government fraudulently detains you, they're going to throw every charge at you that they can and try and make at least one of those stick. So he's saying,
right,
detaining him while he had a valid green card. You can't just say, oops, I just stripped you of your green card, you're under arrest. You know what I mean? So he said that violated the Constitution. There was no due process there. There was no informing Khalil that this was going to happen. But now we still have to keep him in here because of this separate charge, which was allegedly committing fraud by failing to provide certain details on his green card application, which, yeah, sure. So we'll see what happens. But right now, this is kind of a win. It's like a semi-win for Khalil.
Yeah.
But he's...
Well, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. At the very least, the courts are getting out there and showing some backbone in the face of the administration and what ICE is doing.
Right.
So it's good to see that way. The fraudulence claims is strange. I hadn't read that far.
Yeah, I only knew about that today, actually. I didn't even know that was a charge before, because it was the obvious dubiousness of his detainment in the first place was really the front and center story. So
yeah.
And of course, this comes with more news coming out today of how the State Department and Donald Trump are trying to restrict more students, especially Chinese students, from obtaining student visas, how they're cracking down. They're telling Harvard that they can't admit foreign students. The Gestapo is running rampant in the United States right now. So
yeah, you need to be careful about that.
Yeah, be careful about that. More on Khalil, though.
They are morons. Oh,
yeah, they are morons on this. We already knew this. We talked about this on the podcast before. So when we say that he alleges it. I mean, there's proof of this. We've seen this. But Mahmoud Khalil alleges that the Trump admin and pro-Israel groups coordinated to target him. I already know the group. It was Batar, right? I haven't even read this particular story on this yet. So in a FOIA request obtained by Zateo, Khalil, a green card holder, and his legal team from the Center of Constitutional Rights seek information from several government agencies that would document and expose the reported collaboration between federal officials and private anti-Palestinian organizations who have identified, doxed, and reported him and others for purposes of securing the deportation of student advocates advocating on behalf of Palestinian human rights. Batar was doing this right out in the open. They were doing it on Twitter. They were tagging like the Secretary of State. They were tagging, yeah, here it is. Pro-Israel activists reportedly met with members of Congress seeking Khalil's deportation. Ross Glick, then head of Batar USA, says he discussed his deportation efforts with Senator John Fetterman, because of course, and the office of Senator Ted Cruz, all of whom Glick claimed expressed support for his efforts. Glick also claims that members of Columbia's Board of Trustees reported Khalil, which may be true because, you know, in the wake of everything that's happened with Khalil, we saw how terrible Colombia and their administration was in not only protecting Khalil, but probably aiding the government in his capture and detainment. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say to this. I mean, how do you fight back against something like this?
Well, I mean, this is what they're doing, right? So the reason that his legal team has filed a FOIA request is to try and determine what, if any, connection, you know, the official federal government had in connection with these groups that don't have a better term than hate group, and trying to basically get, you know, legal citizens deported.
I mean, we talked about this a bit on a podcast a couple months ago, but to me, like I personally think this backfired. You know, obviously, if you're standing in Khalil's shoes right now, it didn't backfire. I mean, he can't see his newborn son and his wife, who's a U.S. citizen. But to me, the attention of this case specifically has really probably Batar and these other pro-Israeli groups wanted to kind of fly under the radar with this, like, get Khalil out, get these other anti-Israel or pro-Palestine groups, because they're making too much noise. They're too loud. They're drawing too much attention. Let's just silence them and go back to, you know, normal AIPAC propaganda flooding U.S. politics. And to me, that totally backfired.
Yeah, no, I think that it brought it to the forefront and made people realize just how, you know, dishonest a lot of these organizations are and their methodologies in trying to get their message as the prevailing one.
Right.
You know, they keep trying to paint this Khalil and others as like violent instigators and anti-Israel and all of these things that he's clearly not. He's just from Palestine and trying to live his life and protests the genocide that Israel's, you know, conducting.
All right.
I agree with you. I mean, I think that they didn't want this out in the open. It's like you said, they wanted it, you know, brushed under the rug, and they wanted their problems disappeared, but they were relying on the incompetence of Trump admin too. So you're going to get what you're going to get.
So I want to jump ahead here. We'll probably talk more on deportation a little bit later, but I want to jump into a story that's a little bit further down our list today, just because I have some stuff to say about it. So the Texas House passed a bill banning the sale and possession of THC cannabis products, which this came after the people voted to, I believe there was a prop on the ballot that approved THC products, marijuana products. And one thing that Texans or I guess people on the internet who are anti-California, right? One thing that they have been doing is one thing they've been saying is, oh, people want to come to Texas, right? Californians want to come to Texas, right? Texas is the new hot place. It's the new hip place to be. You know, everyone's leaving California. You have more freedom here. You have more this here. And then what? And then what happens? This. Can you explain?
No, I can't. I mean, this is the same thing that we were seeing when we covered the election. We were covering a number of other elections and down ballot stuff. And what comes to mind to me is the Florida elections, where they had a large majority of their population vote on decriminalizing or maybe legalizing marijuana, both medicinally and recreationally. And because of Florida's ridiculous adoption of Prop whatever to make it so that they have to have a 60%, or maybe it's 66% like in the Senate. I don't remember. I don't care. To pass a ballot measure, they're just never going to pass another ballot measure that doesn't have just overwhelming support.
Right.
So they got like 59% approval on this ballot initiative to legalize marijuana and didn't pass. Texas is sort of under the same yoke of like, we have a bunch of hicks who keep voting red no matter what, and they outnumber the people who live in Houston or Dallas. That's really what it comes down to. And yeah, we've been hearing this story, and I think it was made very prominently displayed when Elon Musk officially moved all of his stuff to Texas, right? Because he didn't like California. It's fine. Now, so there's some notion of like, oh, there's, you know, the flight of people from oppressive California to freedom loving Texas, but this is what you get. You know, you try and pass a bill and they won't let you.
Now, when you say Elon Musk, you don't mean the guy, that billionaire guy who like loves smoking pot on like the Joe Rogan podcast, and Joe Rogan,
I don't mean
the other like pot smoking king who now also lives in Texas. Those guys?
Yeah, I mean those guys, but also those guys are bigger than the law. You know that if you're in Texas and you're Joe Rogan or you're Elon Musk and you're smoking pot, no one's going to care. No one's going to stop you.
Oh, okay.
And if they do, you can bribe your way out of it. So this really just hurts the normal people, the regulars who don't have billions of dollars.
I mean, I don't get it, because, you know, normally if you're a Republican politician, you see something like THC is an $8 billion industry in Texas, and you go,
right,
how do I get my hands on some of that? Not we're gonna eliminate this income stream, right? Like what is the benefit of this? What's the reasoning behind this? I don't quite understand it.
It's just limiting freedoms. I mean, there is a conservative base that think that drugs at all are evil, and they believe in, you know, what we were taught in the DARE program from Reagan's policies, and they're like, it's a gateway drug and it ruins lives, and there's a direct line between marijuana and fentanyl, and they're gonna believe and vote that, and they're never gonna see the opposite. You know what I mean? But these kinds of changes are small and incremental, and they always have been. When, you know, like even in legalization or decriminalization of marijuana in progressive states like New York, California, Maine, Vermont, etc., it took decades of honest to God grassroots movement, and I do mean that as a pun, to make it acceptable for people. I mean, even to this day, I'll have conversation with my father-in-law where he's like, you can smell them smoking, you know, pot over there, you can down the block. And I'm like, yeah, you can. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, you're gonna make
but he's, you know, he's a conservative and he's up in arms about it. And I'm just like, you're living in a different time.
I don't think the fear mongering, especially around marijuana, works anymore. But it
doesn't dig deep enough anymore.
Yeah,
but there is that connection that a lot of people, naive people, have between like drugs are drugs and marijuana leads to fentanyl, and I know that we have this huge epidemic.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not a social anthropologist, but that would be my guess, is that there's a conservative holdout that just believes that, and they're not going to learn.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, this is probably Patrick said in his statement. These stores not only sold to adults, but they targeted Texas children and exposed them to dangerous levels of THC. Sure they did. Sure they did.
Yeah.
So, okay, so who was arrested for selling THC to minors?
Right, I never hear that. They always say that these vile criminals exist, but they never press charges on them.
Right.
It's strange.
Yeah, all of this, like all the fraud that's going on in the government, all the fraud which is coming back. You'll see it. No charges have been announced to the public. Nobody's getting arrested for this. Oh, okay. You got me. All right. Let's keep rocking here.
Do you want to keep talking about fraud?
Yeah, let's keep talking about fraud. What do you want to go
keep talking about fraud?
Where am I?
Because there was a guy who ran an administration that was going to root out all the fraud.
What was the administration called?
It was called the Doge administration,
the Department
of Government
Efficiency.
Doging something. It was like
the Department of the. Anyway, this guy right here, who we were just talking about, this big pothead, billionaire, evil billionaire. He's leaving? It's over?
It's leaving.
Okay.
He's leaving. Yeah.
Really?
So I have a lot of things to say about this, but I couldn't find any links to corroborate some of them.
Okay, what do you got? Let me
So I'm just going to speculate wildly, and we'll see if anything sticks.
Okay.
So did you hear that he got into a fight with white supremacist and neo-Nazi Stephen Miller?
I heard things. I know that Stephen Miller's wife is also the which is really interesting, as I made a little joke about that on Blue Sky. I didn't know that they got into an actual fight. Or
they I don't know that if it was an actual fight. I just what I had read, and I again cannot find a link to corroborate this, but what I had read on socials and whatnot was that they don't like each other. They just basically can't be in the same room together because they can't stand one another. And in particular, Elon Musk took issue with the latest budget bill because he can do simple math and he realizes that the latest budget bill is going to explode the deficit in the wrong direction. And he's there, on paper with Doge, trying to cut the deficit and reduce spending and, fraud and waste and all that. And so they see very differently on these things. So there apparently was there's a kerfuffle between the two of them.
I mean, one thing I'll point out is that Stephen Miller, like Caroline Leavitt and the rest of Trump's close administration, they are all, no matter what Trump does, it was the right thing to do. He's a brilliant man, brilliant negotiator, very smart, whatever. Elon Musk has pushed back on a number of things, like tariffs, for instance, which he has always hated, and was like, no, actually, this is the wrong, going in the wrong direction. I'm surprised with the big, beautiful bill, however, because Elon Musk, you're right, it's going to explode the deficit. You look at everybody knows what this thing is going to do. It's the exact opposite of what Doge was claiming they were going to come in and handle, but it's going to purely benefit Musk. So it's a weird, it's a weird battle. Because he can just lie. Who cares? He's leaving right now already. The Doge wall of receipts site has been wrong since it started. It's completely blown up claims of what it's cut way out of proportion. And nobody cares. Literally people that I talk to, regular working class folk, they're like, Elon's doing such a great job. Oh, I can't believe, because all they hear is what Elon says about it. It doesn't matter what we're gonna go in and do the research and dig and go, oh, the 100 billion he said he saved here was actually 1 billion, and that was actually saved last year before he even took off, joined the administration. Why are they recording this on their site as 100 billion saved?
Yeah, and it's included in that article too. If the one that you have up, if you scroll down on that, it talks about how he vowed to, dramatically reduce his target from cutting spending from 2 trillion to 1 trillion, and now he's saying I'm leaving, but it's going to save 150 billion. And I think current estimates has it like he's saved 10 billion, maybe not even that.
From what I
because they keep having to hire back all of the people he fired because he doesn't understand anything.
But from what I understand, the things that they've done and the Doge administration itself has cost taxpayers more money than the money that they've actually cut. Not the money they claim to cut, but the money that they've actually cut. So what this was all this did was create chaos, which if you give Trump any credit for being smarter than he is, which I don't, but you could say that this creating chaos while he went and did other things was exactly the point.
Right.
You don't.
No, it's all smoke and mirrors. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I'll put in a couple of tidbits here. So far, they have terminated either by self-termination or by firings and cutbacks and whatnot about 250,000 federal workers, which is kind of bizarre. I mean, that seems like a lot to me. I don't understand how you're going to find that many people in the federal government that you can get rid of. But maybe he's doing it. Like you said, maybe you're giving him a little credit and he found some waste. People who have redundant jobs or people who are, I remember early on in the claims were like, oh, these are like work from home people who don't actually do anything. And everybody kind of ignored that because it doesn't sound like anything. But maybe there is an argument to be made. I don't know. But getting back to the mega bill that you're talking about, the Congressional Budget Office and the Joint Committee on Taxation both suggest that the mega bill could increase the federal deficit by 3.8 trillion. So I'm like, your 160 billion is not.
And I'm reading a report here that says some of the reported spending cuts have been criticized for containing errors, and there are estimates that the reductions could cost the government 135 billion due to lost productivity and the cost of rehiring workers. So if you take the 160 billion at face value and then the cost of having to rehire and fix the lost productivity at 135 billion, then you could maybe say that they've saved 25 billion. But even that seems like it's just not true. Like at the end of the day, this is going to cost taxpayers a ton of money in the wrong direction.
So I just did the quick math on this. And if those numbers hold, 3.8 trillion added to the deficit and the 160 billion that Elon has saved us.
Yeah.
He saved almost, well, actually, slightly more than 4% of that deficit increase. I mean, if you think about it in nets, right, in totality, he lowered that $3.8 trillion deficit increase to $3.8 trillion.
That I don't know. I'm not very good with numbers, but that seems bad.
It's just so funny on how big magnitudes are and how people don't understand them. You're like, oh my God. If you're like, oh, I spend, $10,000 on this thing, and then somebody's like, but I saved you $1, and you go, who cares? Doesn't matter. What do we have here?
This is a deficit tracker. Cumulative deficits over the fiscal year, which begins in October. So it's starting with giving you 0 in October. It's not, and it's showing cumulative deficits for that year. So right now, in 2025, the Trump administration is, it's above every other, it's above every other year, except for the ones where we were facing, we were dealing with the pandemic, dishing out, PPP loans,
yeah, stimulus and
stimulus
loans.
and other things like that. So yeah, already above every other year. I mean, come on, man.
Hey Nate, out of curiosity, those every other year when we see March to April there,
Uh-huh.
what do you think causes the deficit to shrink in April?
What do I think causes the deficit to shrink in April? Well, there's a certain specific day that the government really enjoys in April, which is where it collects its taxes.
Yeah, you're just like, God damn, look at those graphs. That's so funny. You're like, and taxes paid right there.
Yeah, and that's gonna go away. I mean,
oh, the taxes are? We're not going to get taxed anymore? Oh,
no. Well, you are, and I am.
Oh,
Yeah, but this little bullet point right here is going to. It's not going to land there. It's not going to land there if Trump's big beautiful bill gets.
We really need to like spend a little time digging into this bill so we can talk about it, because it's wild that both sides speak about it so like polar oppositely. Like often you'll have a reconciliation bill and the Republicans will be like, we have too much handout, and the Democrats will be like, we're not doing enough social things. But it's like they mostly agree because they passed the bill, so it's not that big a deal, right?
Right.
But this one, I mean, they're completely, polar opposed to one another.
But and I need to find this. Let me see if I can find this, because what I just heard this morning about what else is included in this bill is mind-blowing to me. It includes the Trump administration, and let me just verify this, not having to be held accountable in like to federal what's the word?
It's judge oversight, ostensibly.
Yeah.
They tried to worm in some language that was like, judges can't tell the executive what to do, even if they're violating the Constitution. And you're like, what? No.
Right. So here it is here. The big beautiful bill includes a provision that would significantly restrict the ability of federal courts to hold government officials, including those from the Trump administration, accountable if they violate judicial orders. Specifically, Section 70302 of the bill would require anyone suing the government to pay a bond before a court can use its contempt power to enforce injunctions or restraining orders, meaning to halt illegal actions. This measure would make it much harder for courts to enforce compliance with their rulings against government officials, thereby undermining judicial oversight and accountability.
This is directly targeting what we were talking about earlier in the podcast, which is just Marco Rubio trying to deport everybody, because we keep seeing these TROs, the temporary restraining orders, being issued by courts because they're not giving due process. They're putting you on a plane and disappearing you to the gulag in El Salvador, where you're probably going to die. And so this language, this section of the bill is like, judges can't stop us. We're just not going to let you issue restraining orders or file injunctions or anything that complies us to obey the law.
Right.
It's bananas to me. I mean, it's never going to get through, you wouldn't think, because the Dems in the Senate have to filibuster if that language comes through.
And so it pretends that there's going to be $1.6 trillion in mandatory spending cuts. I mean, it doesn't pretend like that. If that passes, that's going to come from Medicare and Medicaid. I mean, that's where it's coming from. There's no other place that it can come from.
Right.
It imposes new restrictions on Medicaid, including work requirements, more frequent eligibility checks, bans on coverage for gender transition services and undocumented immigrants who, by the way, pay into these services. It increases the estate and gift tax exemption by $5 million from $10 million to $15 million. Let's see. I mean,
Man, estate tax. That's fun.
Economic analysis project the bill will increase GDP by over 5% in 4 years, create or save up to 7 million jobs, and boost average family take-home pay by up to $13,000. While critics note it would add $2.6 trillion to the deficit over a decade. But let me just say, it could boost average family take-home pay, and that's what a lot of people are going to see. Like a lot of Trump voters are going to be like, oh, we could be taking home $13,000 more dollars. Yeah, and everybody that you know and love in your family is going to lose Medicaid and Medicare, and there's not going to be any of these other programs, and all of these social safety nets that you're relying on because of your income are going to go away, and it's going to cost you more.
I'd be interested in hearing the position of somebody who is in this boat of being a pro-Trump person or just a Republican generally, and then reading this and then thinking, that their lot in life is going to improve, because that's not really how these bills work. It doesn't pan out like, oh, we passed this tax reform bill, and because taxes are changed, we're going to give you a pay increase. Has your employer ever done that? Mine's never done that.
No.
The only way you're gonna actually see that pay increase is if you have the opportunity and ability to get a new job in a sector where the market deems that everyone is underpaid.
Well, what they don't understand is that it actually probably doesn't even apply to them. The way that they're factoring in these averages is they're accounting for the new tax exemptions that are being included in the bill, which is overtime pay, tips, auto loan interest, and a the child tax credit increase.
Okay, so these are they're saying that the take home is from tax exemptions.
There's no other. I mean, in the bill, as you read the bill, there's no other way to increase family take home pay other than the tax exemptions it's providing in the bill.
I misunderstood it. I have actually heard a different argument. So bear with me here, from conservatives and libertarians alike, that corporations and businesses are overtaxed, and if you reduce the tax burden on them, that will increase the pay to the employee. And I'm like, I've never seen that actually pay out in any
this was
real world experiences.
Yeah, so. No. I'm not sure how much the economic analysis projects that are working around this have thought about like trickle down bullshit and put that into account. But the reality here is that, like, okay, if we're not taxing on overtime and we're not taxing on tips, if I take 5 of those families that get a lot of income from that and 5 families that don't and get the average, this is the average, right? And so they're saying the average American family take-home pay is going to go up. If you do anything where you're giving tax relief to any group, then the average American family take-home pay is obviously going to go up. But a lot of people don't realize that doesn't actually mean you. This isn't going to benefit you at all. And of course, in the long run, it's going to hurt because the wage gap is going to increase, etc. Things are going to be more expensive. Inflation is continuing to rise. The value of that $13,300 average, which again isn't going to you, is going to look a lot smaller as inflation increases and the deficit gains $3 trillion over 10 years. Dude, I mean, I'll tell you right now, $13,000. If my employer came to me and said, "Hey, we're going to give you a $13,000 raise," I'd be like, "That's not going to fucking help me." I mean, after taxes, great. Now I can finally not put my grocery bill on credit cards anymore. Thanks. I don't know, for a couple months maybe. So
yeah, but it's annual. It's not nothing. But it's
no. I take it. I take it. I'd be mad about it. I take it.
All right, I found more funny that I want to talk about.
Okay. All right.
It's this one.
Okay.
This was part of the other rumor that I was hearing that I couldn't find a source for, and I happened to find it on the Daily Beast as I'm doing research on this particular thing. Beast,
but Musk takes Stephen Miller's wife, and I tweeted about this, or I skeeted about this, I blue skied about this, and said, how long before Elon, forces a baby on her? And then Stephen Miller just has to deal with it and say, "Oh, thank you." Okay.
Yeah, no. So this story, I briefly read it, and it's basically that as Elon is embarking on his new, private life outside of public institution of Doge, Katie Miller will be joining him as a full-time assistant in some capacity. Maybe assistant's the wrong word. Full-time Musk employee.
I mean, it says she's setting up interviews for him and stuff, so maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what her role is.
Yeah. All right, now I'm going to go into the land of salacious rumors that are backed up by nothing except what I saw on social media.
Okay, that's fine. I like
you ready?
That.
You ready?
Yeah.
The real reason that white nationalists and not neo-Nazi Stephen Miller and Elon Musk don't get along is because they've been having a throuple, and Elon is stealing his girl.
I believe that, but without I believe that it was a double.
Yeah, a ping pong match, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Stephen Miller looks like the type that would wear the Superman outfit and back into the closet and watch, right? he looks like the type of guy that would do that.
Look at this picture. Look at his dumb face and how angry he is. Oh man. Hilarious.
And I mean, listen, I'm confused. What nationality is Stephen Miller's wife?
I don't know. Tan.
I need to look this up. What nationality is Katie Miller? American. Okay, would they fix her? They fix her.
You keep saying fix her, but I don't know.
Fix her Wikipedia page? I mean, why can't I find...
Oh.
I mean, she was born in Florida. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. But I mean, she doesn't look like the Aryan race that you would think that Stephen Miller would want. Yeah.
No, I know. They're deeply conflicted, those
aren't they?
Eugenics types posts.
Yeah.
I think they just want to dominate the other races, and they know that word has, contextual connotations depending on with whom you're, supping or whatever. You're dominating some people, you're dominating a person. I don't know.
Well, all right.
So that's the rumor mill. I have the rumor mill covered now.
Okay, you got the rumor mill.
I was hoping you had like something that could corroborate it, because sometimes you have like mystery sources that are great at that. So I'm bummed that you don't have that.
I don't have any mystery sources on this one, though. I'll start doing a little digging and reaching out. But I'll say, she's very pretty, by the way. She's a very pretty woman. This matchup doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's what I keep saying every time Elon Musk spits out a new kid from a new girl.
Right.
Just like,
what,
him.
How did this happen?
A certain amount of money for a certain type of person will get them to overlook a great many things. Maybe that's what we're seeing here. I don't know.
Why? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I will speculate on the other thing, though. Yeah, I think there's probably some sort of affair going on, right? There has to be.
I don't know if there has to be, but it's more fun to think that there is.
The baby's coming soon. Probably. All right, what else we got? What else do we want to do? What else do we want to talk about today?
We can talk about Department of Ed.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's pull up
That's an interesting one.
Let's pull up a court listener case.
You know me and my court listener. I love these. I
love the court listener. Tell me what's going on here. What am I looking at?
So
I know Somerville.
The state of New York, you do, against Linda McMahon and the Somerville public school system versus Donald Trump et al. This is a court order.
Is this Somerville, Massachusetts? Then I know it.
I believe you, man.
U.S. District Court of Massachusetts. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Well, there you go.
There it is.
A federal judge basically has blocked the dismantling of the Department of Education, is what this court order suggests.
Okay.
It came out late last week, I want to say, before the 3-day weekend. Yeah, 22nd. There you go. That's not even late last week. That's a week ago today.
A week ago today, yeah.
And kind of in scathing language at the bottom, like it's just more of the same. The Trump admin doesn't hire the best lawyers, and the positions they take are unconstitutional. So it's hard to argue in a court of law.
Right. Can I get any scathing language here? Okay.
Maybe this isn't.
It is therefore ordered until further order of this court that the agency defendants are enjoined from carrying out the reduction in force announced on March 11th. So that's awesome. The agency defendants are enjoined from implementing, giving effect to, or reinstating the March 11, 2025 executive order. The agency defendants shall reinstate federal employees whose employment was terminated or otherwise eliminated on or after January 20th as part of the reduction in force announcement. Which, of course, they're going to try and get around this. They'll say, we fired them for other reasons, right? The agency defendants shall provide notice of this order or preliminary injunction within 24 hours of entry to all their officers, agents, servants, employees. Awesome. The agency defendants shall file a status report with this court within 72 hours describing all the steps that the agency has taken to comply with this order. I love this stuff, man.
I mean, a lot of these orders now, and it wasn't this one. It doesn't have the scathing language in it, but it's becoming clearer that to all the judges that they need to include language that basically says, now you're going to show me in a couple of days that you're actually doing this court order. You have to have concrete steps taken, and you have to prove it to this court, or I will hold you in contempt, like as a part of the order, because they know that they're basically dealing with, a hostile, not witness, but a hostile entity on the other end of the. I guess they're
one that's looking for any way to, not adhere to the court's orders, right? So.
Right. Well, I mean, have they facilitated the return of
Kilmar Abrego Garcia? No, I believe not.
They were ordered to have done so, within 72 hours, and they're like, "How can we do that?" So you have to treat them this way. You have to publicly humiliate them with orders that say you must do this, otherwise you are violating, the law. And then when they come out and they're like, "Oh, we didn't do it. We can't do it." Just call them criminals.
Yeah.
Say it like it is.
Listen, this story caught my eye, so I know we don't have a lot of time left today, so I wanted to.
Jezebel.
What? Nancy Mace stays up all night programming bots on social media? What? She sits.
I think I found this one on a weird, in a weird mood, and I saw it come across my timeline, and I had to include it in the show notes. I don't know why. Nancy Mace is a terrible person. She's
a terrible person.
She's a terrible person. Her opinions are bad, and she's just a hate-filled monster. And she can't win over. And this is true of many of the people that we argue with in the social space, but they can't win over public opinion because their opinions are terrible.
Right.
And their only recourse is to try and employ a fallacy and ad populum and just make a bunch of bots to, like and subscribe their stuff so that they seem popular. It's sad in a way, but it's not altogether unsurprising.
I mean, that seems like a lot of what politics is these days, right? Is we're just trying. Remember the whole Russian scandal where the Kremlin would spent $10 million on, Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro or whoever.
Yeah.
I don't think Ben Shapiro was in that lot. But Tim Pool and some others, Ben Johnson. And that's what's going on. It's like we're paying these influencers to just lie, pretend like it's their opinion, pretend like whoever or whatever they're talking about is more popular than it actually is, and that gives it some weight, and then it sort of does become pseudo popular. Now, I don't think Nancy Mace is a very popular politician at all. I don't know if we have can we get popularity numbers on her?
Probably, but I don't even know. I mean, moreover, her opinions are surely unpopular.
Right. Let's see. Oh, is she gonna attempting to be running for governor?
Probably, but I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like that based on this article. SC governor's race has no official candidates yet, but who has an early edge? And it shows the South Carolina Attorney General, Nancy Mace, and the Lieutenant Governor are all the top contenders. But it shows Nancy Mace obviously has the highest name recognition.
Right, but unless she's being ousted or her seat is...
No, she's not the only one. It's weird how many of these... I mean, these are generally safe seats that these people are giving up to run for governor.
But why would you give it up to become governor?
Governor
that seems like a step down.
No, it's not. State
you
governors.
Think?
Oh yeah. State governor is more sought after than a House rep seat. Yeah, for sure.
What's the pecking order? Because a lot of the time you'll see House rep seats, campaign and win Senate seats. Like they'll go from House to Senate because I think that's seen as a more prestigious position. But do you think Senate seats are more prestigious than say the governors?
Yes. Yeah. Let's see here. But I've always thought the governor seat was kind of a big one. And let's see. Offers national ability. Yeah, I mean, governors just have more control over their state. It's more high profile.
Sure.
They get to issue those executive orders and appoint officials, but none of that stuff that they have the National Guard at their command. None of that stuff a House rep can do.
Sure, and I understand that. Like, especially if you're the bully pulpit. So, I mean, we've seen what Gavin Newsom does as the governor of California. Arguably, until now, because he's gone insane, I suppose, he had done a very good job from the minority in standing up against the Trump admin now twice and just fighting for Californians as a left state. And you see that, like, the governor of Massachusetts comes to mind as well, and New York, except not New York.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I could see that being like, well, I can be somebody who stands up to the president.
I mean, the gubernatorial
whereas the House,
seat,
you don't care.
Yeah, I mean that governor's seat is more of a stepping stone to the presidency as well. You often see governors go right from there. Reagan is a great example. Clinton is another example. Or the Senate, Barack Obama, an example.
Was Bush governor of Texas?
Bush was governor of Texas. Bush Senior? Oh wait.
I mean, we're doing history on the fly here, but it sounds right to me.
One of the Bushes was a governor of Texas.
Senator, and yeah.
Yeah, W was the governor of Texas. Okay.
Right.
So I think being governor, and then am I right about this? House is 2-year terms, and governors are 4 years.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why you'd rather be governor than senator, and especially
but Senate seats they're like 80 years.
Well, Senate seats are 80 years. Yeah. They're 6 years, but 80 years. Yeah. It's like once you win a Senate seat, unless you die, it's.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or if you're in leadership in the House. If you're in leadership in the House, then you're there for 80 years.
Yeah. I want to get this one last thing because we have got to drop off here in about 5 minutes. This was a nice test run. But I want to ask guys, friends, fellas out there, if there's any guys watching either live right now or if you're watching later after this video, I think they get saved to YouTube. This is our first YouTube live. Guys, fellas, is it gay to drink out of the straw? Is it gay? Are straws gay? I think is that what we're asking?
Are straw users gay? I
What
don't
do you want
know.
to tell Jesse Waters on Fox News?
Pay his taxes. I knew him when he was poor. That's how long I've known Waters.
He's not poor anymore.
No, he's not poor anymore.
God bless you. Keep rocketing.
Before you go, Senator, Jesse Waters has rules for men. He said men should not have male best friends. What do you think?
Jesse needs a friend.
He says men should not drink out of straws in public, or at all.
I don't drink out of a straw, brother. That's what the women in my house do.
He says men shouldn't eat soup in public. What do you think of that?
Men shouldn't eat kale at all. You know the best way to prepare kale? You mix a little olive oil in with the kale. That way it slides out of the pan very easily into the garbage.
He says men should not cross their legs. You say?
Whatever Jesse says is good with me. Jesse seems like he's an etiquette pro.
Senator, do you cross your legs?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh
Gross.
my God, these people are so disgusting. If this person isn't a lizard wearing a skin suit, I don't know who is.
I liked the guy who was like, you slide the kale out of the pan into the trash. Like, that's funny, at least.
That was all right, but he's a piece of shit. So
Sure he is, but
yeah,
that was
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's a good spot to end. We got to do an episode on this guy. This guy is fucking insane. He's just.
I can't do an episode. If you're going to do an episode on him, I'm just going to be over there. I'm not going to deal with it.
Okay,
I'm going to be the Superman in the closet. Just be.
All right. I got nothing else to say. This was our test run of the Blue Sedition podcast live show. We're gonna leave it here. We're not gonna throw it up on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Probably we're gonna do that save that for our regular podcast. You've got to catch these shows here on YouTube. So like, subscribe, ring that bell so that you know when we go live. And we're gonna have more of these. And I'm not gonna promise that we're gonna do it smoother next time. It's probably gonna take a little bit of fumbling before we get this right. But for now, this is what it is. So. Thanks everybody for watching, for listening, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
But now I have to figure out how to shut it off.